right. Well, I'm curious. I'm going to keep asking this every single week because it fuels me. Um, when I hear good things from you guys, I'll start with a share. It's not my share. It is one of our clients. He never gets a chance to get on these calls because, well, let's just face it, he's way too busy doing too many deals, which leads into exactly what he shared with me the other day. But I want you to think for a second. And if you've got something that you want to share and add to this to maybe motivate some other people, encourage other people or something like that, please let me know. But how many of you guys are well aware that there is a slight shift in the economy and a slight shift happening in the real estate space? And it's kind of shifting into the favors of you, the real estate investor, maybe happening faster in other areas than some may have already happened in some areas, but others you might not be experiencing it just yet, right? Well, this particular client of ours is up in the Denver, Colorado area. We were talking on a call the other day. We were going over some of his data, doing some PPC stuff, doing some SEO work for him, that kind of stuff. And currently, he's averaging at about 400 and somewhere between $380 to $430 a cost per lead. So it costs him roughly about, across everything, it's cost him about 300 and some bucks, 400 and some bucks to generate a solid lead that really turns into an opportunity. In the last month, just from his PPC and SEO stuff alone, he had about 15 different leads come in. He made about 13, I think it was. It was 2 or 3 that he did not make offers on because they just didn't make sense, but he made offers on pretty much every single lead that he got because they're that qualified of leads, right? And we were talking and he's like, it's not a problem of leads. Got plenty of those. That's finally firing on all cylinders and working really well. I'm not going to complain too much about the cost per lead because how many of you guys feel like $300, $400 for a lead where his average profit per deal is anywhere from 30 to 60,000 bucks? How many of you guys would spend $300-400 to make 60,000? Right? Would we like to see that lead cost per lead go down? Absolutely. How do we get the cost per lead to go down? You do more deals. You convert more of these things, right? You convert more leads into better opportunities is all. But what it was boiling down to for him was 2 things. Number 1, bandwidth from a team standpoint. And number 2, bandwidth from a, what do you think the second part of this is? Somebody put, yeah, Bob, you put it in the comments, money to buy the properties, right? And when we really started to dig into it and look, like, what is it that's going so well? Obviously, our ads are firing really well. He's getting really good results off the ad side. He's getting really good results on the SEO side because the campaigns are firing and working. It's a lot like Chris, Sal, you guys. Lorraine, you're another one. Didn't happen overnight, but kind of like fine wine. We let it sit, nurture, continue to add to it, and all of a sudden it popped. And it's just like, okay, this is starting to produce now, right? We want it to produce more. We're going to continue to push, but it's actually producing in there. And this client of ours, same thing. It took some time to get there, but now it's working. And it was a really good share to hear, partially because as this market shifts, in my opinion, it's shifting into the favor of us as real estate investors. But it's really going to shift into the favor of us when we're positioned, when we're ready, when we're visible. And that's this marketing side that Roger, myself, our team, that we love. And I'm going to go a little deeper into that because there's some things that, talking with Matt and some others, that we see some trends, and I want to kind of dive into those. But I'm curious from some others. That was a great share from Matt. That 15 freaking leads, 13 of them he made offers on. I forget how many he said he actually closed on. Two or 3. I know he didn't close on simply because he reoffered after seeing the property, and the person just is still stuck in the fact that the market isn't shifting. Well, guess what? That mindset will change, right? Give it some time. That person will probably come back around. But, and if you've been in the game long enough, we've all experienced opportunities like that. It's a good deal. You got a good number on it. You just got to get the seller to be believable in what's really happening. So anybody else have anything fun that's gone on over the last couple days, couple weeks, that kind of stuff? I see some faces on here that I haven't seen in a while. Some of you guys have been traveling like crazy. So anybody got something you want to share? Nothing.
Sean, we've been actively pursuing our new niche, with the senior transition, and we've been to about 3 networking events. So we're learning the market. We're learning what we have to do to get the market. And it's funny because as we talk to people and we give them our card and we say to them, don't believe us when we tell you this. Go on our website, look at what our clients say to us and say about us, and then decide. And they're doing that, and they're coming back and saying, oh, you're so right, this and that. So we're getting a lot. We've already got 40 people in our lead vault that we're putting into a text nurturing campaign. And the good news is every time they send us a lead, it's a qualified lead. It's right up our alley. So we don't see anything there, but we're laying down a lot of seeds. It's really, really nice to see.
I love it. Anybody else?
Hey, Sean, so this may be a rookie question, and I'm just going to throw that out there, but how are you guys getting these leads? So I guess that's what you're going to talk about, or what's going on? I feel a little bit lost, so help me out.
Sal, you want to share a little deeper on where you're getting some of your stuff?
Well, as most people know, Hamid, and you may not, we had a lot of lines in the water. We did everything from foreclosures, divorce, probate, liens. We tried to do everything. Abandoned homes. We did everything that we were told to do, and we failed miserably because we were not focused enough. It took Sean and Roger to sit us down and basically yell at us and tell us that we had to get a little more focused. And what the market that we went after was probate and senior care, and it came naturally. And as we did that, Sean and Roger adjusted our marketing, adjusted our SEO, and it didn't take very long for things to start to pop. And we're getting them organically. People are looking online for leads, because when they do, they look at, everybody says we buy homes. Everybody says we pay cash. You got to change it. You got to change it up. So once we changed it up, thanks to the help of the guys there, it got more specific. So when someone says we want to sell a probate home in Houston, Texas, or in Katy, Texas, we started showing up. And once they started accessing us, they were qualified leads already, because we already know that we can almost positively make an offer for them.
That's awesome. And that's what I would love to learn and take out of these training calls, is how to go about doing this. So yeah, I mean, I've been doing probates for the last 3.5 years. That's like 95% of my leads are probate, but I'm proactively doing it. Like, I'm cold calling, I'm doing all the hard stuff. So I want to take it to that next level with online marketing, and just really needing some direction on how to utilize this platform to do that.
Well, I'll just give you a quick example. We were driving back from this networking event, and we got a notice from Lead Vault, which is, TRC's thing, or REI Toolbox rather, that said we got a call, and we got a marketing call. And on the way back, I picked it up, and it was someone that got one of our multi-tactic probate messages. We did texts, we did postcards, we did letters, we did texts again. We referred them to our website. This guy got one of our letters, and he called us. So we got a lead, and we know it's a good lead because we know exactly where the house is, and we're going to go look at it, and we're going to probably make an offer on it.
Fantastic.
I'm going to show you guys something, and I want to get your feedback. I'm going to share the screen here. Can you
Little
guys see the
piggyback off
screenshot of a
too,
Facebook
Sean.
post?
A little piggyback off of that too. I think I don't know what Hamida's package is, so that might make a difference for her as well, specifically with her marketing support as well.
Right.
Correct. I mean, package is always going to, from a support standpoint, Chris and Sal's been in, you know, they started in our foundation package, but you guys have been in our advanced packages now for getting close to a year at this point.
Yeah,
But
so
that doesn't mean that the foundation package, you can't do it, right? It just takes work. Chris and Sal just decided, hey, we don't want to deal with that. You guys take care of it for us so that we can, do that work.
yeah, I was just gonna say, it would be good to know what the, I'm fine doing the work right now. Like, I have a time frame on how long I want to do the work for. I just need to know what to do, essentially.
Yep. And there's actually, I'm going to share towards the tail end of this call. There's some things that we just started. Some of you guys might have seen my post the other day that V2, it's actually out. We've got it. It's ready to go. I finally was allowed to break the case and let the glass kind of come to the ground. And Roger gave me the green light to share about it. So, but first I want to kind of start here and really kind of, I said that today we were going to focus in on driving more leads based on customer service, right? And anytime I think customer service, I immediately think phone calls. I think the way that we communicate, the way that we deal with somebody. And I stumbled on this post the other night, and it made me cringe that there are still, and I didn't screenshot the comments just out of privacy for everybody, but it blew me away how many comments were on this talking about, this is so inspiring. This is amazing. I can't believe, you could put a team together that can do this. I wish I could have a team that can do these things.
That sucks.
Blah, 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 blah. And I'm curious, what is your guys' take? Like read that this is a real estate investor. We get asked how we buy property at such good numbers. These are numbers of cold calls we made in 2021. It's work is the answer. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't get into the real estate game. I didn't get into business to have a bunch of work. I got into business for freedom, right? I got into business for flexibility. I got into real estate to make money, yes, but to enjoy life. How many of you guys want to do 26 million cold calls? These are his KPIs in 2021. 26,750,598 dials.
So what
And the number of connects that they had, 680. That's 681,000 times somebody answered the phone that they attempted to have a conversation. Now, he didn't even post. He had never posted in any of his comments how many deals were. People were even asking, well, how many deals did you make out of that? He wouldn't even post that. How many of you guys want to deal with 681,000 phone calls? No, right? I saw Victor. I saw
No.
that face. You're just mind blown, right?
Yeah, I just calculated daily calls on that.
And what would that be?
Sorry, I took it off the calculator so fast.
Because it was that big. And that's scary, huh?
That's only 38% of the calls made that connected, regardless of what happened during the call.
No. It's 2.5%.
I read my calculator wrong. You're right. It's 2.5%. So
Connection rate.
2.5% contact.
Yeah.
What happens after that? 50% of them hang up. The other 50% scream at you, and then you get blocked. So your numbers are starting to dwindle, and you don't even know if it's a qualified call.
So I bring this up because too often we get focused on, I need leads, 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 right? I need more leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. And to a certain point, there's some truth to that. we do need leads. But do we need a ton of leads if the leads that we're getting are super focused, super hot? I'll give you a hair backstory here. Roger and I we went through a dry spell. You guys probably have noticed there hasn't been a ton of new members coming into REI Toolbox since we came off of our month-long journey back in July. And that was by design. We chose to turn sales down for a second and focus on redeveloping some things. We knew Google was coming with a new update, some stuff that's rolling out. So we decided, let's not bring too many new people in until we get that done and out there. But just recently, because we've put a lot of focus in that time frame on becoming more omnipresent, becoming more visible, getting more things out there, lining up some different opportunities, I've had more sales calls for us in the last 2 weeks than I normally would have in like a month span. And these are people hitting my calendar that are basically already saying, we're doing this. I just need to know what's the first step. And it's like, well, the soonest I can actually get on a call with you is here. So my point is, there's a place for quick hits that I call, right? The quick hit marketing. Is there a place for cold calling? Absolutely. Is there a place for texting? Absolutely. For somebody like Hamida, you're just getting going in the digital world, right? We're just starting you just got your website live. You just got onto this foundation package. Right now, it's going to be a little bit, where's the leads going to come from? It's going to be a little bit more heavy on the quick hit marketing. The traditional stuff that we know kind of works. Is it the best result every time? No. Is it a little bit time consuming and eat up a little bit of our time? Absolutely, right? But the goal is to eventually work your way out of that. And I didn't share this before, but when we were talking with Matt, he mentioned to us that he's completely shut down his cold calling side of his business. He was spending close to about $5,000 to $6,000 a month in cost to fund the cold calling side between his VAs, right? The lists that he was buying and skip tracing and all the stuff that goes into that to do. He was dumping about $5,000 to $6,000 into it. And the reason he chose to shut that side down was because as his PPC, his SEO really got ramped up and going, he started realizing he was not actually closing any deals over a 45-day. It was like a 30 or 45-day window. He didn't close a single deal from his cold calling side. Was he getting connections? Yes. Were they talking to people? Yes. Was he getting quote unquote leads? Yes. But when he actually looked at this 30 to 45-day window, all the money that he was spending on this quick hit stuff really was just money out the window on time. Just sucking up time, burning cash. And when we really took it a step deeper behind that, it was like, why is it that the internet side of things, the digital side, the SEO, the social media, the stuff coming through his website, why were those leads so much more power? Even though when you draw numbers back and forth, cold calling, he talked, not just him personally, but his VAs and it talked to more people than the number of leads submitting forms or phone calling him from these other avenues. But deals are what really matter, right? Property under contract is what really matters. That's where the money's made. It's not made until we get to that point. And it was all on this other side. And when we dug deeper into it, it was simply the conversations that he could have with those leads coming in off of his website. Much better conversation, deeper level conversation right out of the gate, warmer conversations, not necessarily selling the person. How many of you guys have ever been on that call with a seller where you're basically like trying to sell them on who you are, sell them on what you do, sell them on the legitimacy of what you guys do? I know I used to do that a ton. a ton of times we had to deal with that phone call. Is this even legal? Are you even allowed to do that? These kind of things, right? So I mentioned that because, again, I go back to, I think I said this last week. There's been a ton of stuff that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks that really, and I know some of you guys are new, so you weren't on those calls live. The replays are over on the YouTube channel. Be sure to check those out. But it's more than just checking it out. It's actually implementing what you can get implemented right now. And some of you guys are in packages where we're implementing a lot of that for you. Some of you guys are in packages where it's going to be on you to implement some of those things. I know, Jake, I see you're off the motorcycle now, so I'll actually ask you this. Marie's around. If she's actually listening, I think we're staring at her ceiling. But I know you guys have made some big changes just in the last week in the quick hit division, right? The cold outreach, the text, the cold calling side of things. And it's made some improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. We were doing, we were approaching kind of the 2-3 deals a month, and that's turned to 2-3 deals a week, just by changing up our outreach and not kind of like how Sal was saying earlier, having that super broad spectrum of we're going to do it all, we're going to do everything, and really niching down on, our branding's all about military relocation and everything, but we're still doing a lot of cold outreach with specific like absentee owner campaigns and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been awesome.
And Hamida, I saw your comment, so I'm gonna share the screen. In case you guys don't know, I think I made this comment on a past training call. I think I'm pretty sure I told you guys we're going all in on YouTube in 2023, right? We internally going hard. And some things are already starting to fold out. We just hired a new guy. For that, actually, he just posted. Holy crap! Oh, that was the one 2 days ago. I thought that was the one earlier. But right here, if you go to the REI Toolbox YouTube channel and you scroll down, you'll see right here the weekly training replays are posted. So you can kind of go through and watch these. In our Web Buzz podcasts are also another great place to get insight, knowledge, information. And then these calls are really designed. These calls here are really designed for you guys to come on and ask the questions, get the answer, kind of get into the moment, into the doing, the help side of things, right? Video is great, but get on these calls and ask away as you're implementing and putting this stuff into action for yourself. Okay.
So I do have a question.
Go ahead.
If this is a time for questions. So
ask it and I'll let you know if we're going to get into something that might answer it. Okay.
So I have a different approach, right? Like my niche within real estate doesn't, at least how I'm thinking about it, maybe I need to expand this thought process, but it doesn't really warrant outreach per se, like cold calling and postcards and those types of things. I don't think that works for the type of client or investor that I would be working with. So I'd just be curious to know, how can I better leverage, all of these things to speak more to the person that I would be working with.
Yep. I'm going to disagree with you and I'll explain why in a second.
Okay.
And not completely disagree. I'm going to disagree to a certain level, right?
Yeah, no, I appreciate, yeah.
There's a certain level where I will agree, a full-blown cold outreach campaign, maybe not, but I think there's still a period of time, or there's still a portion where it makes sense for you, Lorraine. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And here's what I mean by the service side of things. I was listening to this podcast the other day, and this guy shook my mind for a second. I had to re-listen to this about 10-minute window of this podcast about 5 or 6 different times to really let this thing sink in. And it was this gentleman. He's in the hair salon industry. He's a hairstylist himself, and he teaches other hairstylists how to be better hairstylists. Victor, I see you rubbing your bald head. I was not listening to the podcast because he's a hairstylist. I was listening to the podcast because it was around some marketing things and some digital stuff. But he got talking about the host of the show asked him, like, what has been the number one marketing focus that has given you growth in the last 6 to 8 months? And his answer, this is what shocked me, he, without like missing a beat, there was maybe a second or two pause between the question and him answering this, he said fulfillment. And I stopped for a second. I was like, I thought he asked him what marketing has contributed to growth. And the host even got confused and asked him again, like what marketing has contributed to your growth? And he said fulfillment. And it shook me for a second. This is why I said I had to go back and listen to everything that he talked about as to why. And it all of a sudden it dawned on me. The fulfillment side of things, the way we actually make something happen in the business, right? For us, that's getting you guys launched without any pains. You know, Hamida, your site went live. We talked a couple weeks ago, and here's this really nice site that's gone live, and you haven't had to do a ton in the back end. You guys weren't forced to have to make all these edits and that kind of stuff, right? That's the fulfillment side. In real estate, the fulfillment is the actual getting this person from where they're at, stressed, anxiety, whatever the case, insert whatever emotion they're going through, to the closing table smoothly, right? Taking a lot of the burden off their plate. And that's the same whether you're an investor or you're on the agent side. But that's really, at the end of the day, the fulfillment of what you do, living up to your word, actually making it happen. Now you mix in some other stuff. You know, Chris, Sal, you guys are a little bit niched down and different in this transition aspect. And maybe a portion of that fulfillment is actually working with them, getting them placed, or getting mom placed, or getting that placement center communication going, these type of things. Maybe it's bringing moving companies in. You know, Jake, Marie, you guys are on this side. Lorraine, this is where I still think it fits from a fulfillment standpoint. You're introducing most of these people, or leveraging their little knowledge and hand holding them through a better investment strategy that could be quite stressful if they didn't have the expert next to them, like you, right? Fulfillment, what we actually do, is actually our best marketing approach. Yet be honest with yourself. When's the last time you spoke to a lead today about something you've done for somebody else? When's the last time that you actually put something out there about what you've done for others and not focused on, I want to help you? And I'm asking that question because it hit me for a second, because that guy asked the question on the podcast to those listening, that same question, and it shocked me. Because even, I'll be 100% honest, we have not done a really good job of doing that. And some of you guys, Roger's probably reached out to you guys about asking you guys to, you know, go write some reviews on some of your experiences and that kind of stuff. And it's because we suddenly realized, holy crap, we're sucking at that part as well, because I wasn't thinking fulfillment, right? And I'm just sharing this with you guys because you're part of our family. It's the point of these calls. Sometimes you get some behind the scenes stuff here. But fulfillment for this individual, it's his number one marketing focus. He focuses on actually fulfilling at a very high level, getting results for those that he's working with and showcasing those results. And when the follow-up question came out, how much money are you spending on ads? How much money are you spending on other stuff? He's like, I only spend money on the things that make me show up in the online space. I don't do anything outside of that. He does, as a hairstylist, working with other hairstylists, teaching that he focuses on getting them to a webinar, teaching them what he knows, and getting them into his program. And he does it all through showcasing what he's done with everybody else. And that's it. So I took that a step deeper, and I was in our mastermind group today. We had a mastermind call with a bunch of other agencies, and I asked this question in there to them. I asked a lot of these guys, they do very similar to you guys. They do cold calling, cold texting, cold outreach to whatever industry that they're servicing as an agency like us, right? One of the guys in our close group, he deals with fence builders, not full-blown contractors. He only works with companies that just build fences. And another guy is a solar guy. He works with companies that do solar installs. And I asked this question, and he two of them actually together, they kind of replied back. The one guy, he brought something up. They've completely changed the way that their initial conversation happens with somebody, all the way to it starts at the very first text. So when somebody goes to their website, lands on an ad, whatever the case, social ad, doesn't matter where it's coming from, they land on something, they fill out a form, and it comes in. Instead of the text that we all typically send to, say, or an email that we tend to do, or maybe it's just a message that pops up, hey, we got your information, we'll be in touch in 24 to 48 hours. He's like, from that point forward, the second they say, yes, I want info, yes, I want to talk, he's like, you're basically on the hook at that point for how well you communicate and how well you convert the lead. So something that's really cool. I don't know how he's doing it, and I'm going to find out. I will see him in November in Miami, and I want to find this technology to be able to bring this in for some of you guys that are using Lead Vault with the automations and this type of stuff. But this solar guy, what he does, they fill out a form. Part of that form, they have to put an address. And this is how deep he's taking it to the very first piece of communication. When they fill out the form, put the address in it, he's got some software that then takes a screenshot of a map image of this house, pulls it in to his automation system, fires a text back that says, hey, Jake, thanks for filling out the information. I'm picking on Jake because he moved to the center of my screen right as I said that. Hey, Jake, thanks for filling out the form. Quick question. Is this your roof? And it's an image. Because I go back to what I ask you guys all the time. What's the point of our marketing?
That could freak some people out, though.
It could. But his engagement rate went through the roof.
It's awareness,
The quality of the leads went through the roof because they were able to start communicating
Mhm.
quickly. There wasn't any more stalling. There wasn't any more, hey, Jake, thanks for filling this out. One of our techs will be in touch in the next 24 to 48 hours, right? Now, do I have that technology to bring you guys today? No. It would be awesome if somebody could fill out a form. I want to sell my house, and then boom, there's a picture of their house showing up in their text messaging. I agree, Bob, it could freak some people out, but I think it would be really powerful and really cool. But it made me sit back and think right before this call, what could we be doing? That's obviously inbound. What could we be doing from an outbound standpoint? All the way from our first text message or our first phone call or our first engagement attempt with that person. And I've got some ideas, but I'm curious from you guys, what's coming to mind maybe that we could do?
Sean, I'm just thinking about what we've been going through the last few weeks with this very hyper-focused networking activity with these senior placement agents, the people that place senior people in these senior communities. And we didn't know what to expect. They do a lot of network marketing to these small groups by showing up, doing nurturing with these people, with the people that run the facilities, that handle the money, and they build the nurturing process with them so that when they think of someone, they think of them. And we're learning a lot from that because, I mean, we still want to get them to our website, and that's what we do. You know, we use that approach. Don't believe us. Don't listen to what we say. Look at our website and see. And we get responsive. We just got an email just before from someone we met this morning. Said, "Hey, I saw your website. I love what you guys are doing. I'm going to be in touch." She is an organizer. She's a downsizer for this kind of business. So it's going to help us when someone asks us, a client asks us, we need to downsize. We need to do an estate sale. Hey, I got somebody for you. That little stuff like that makes a big difference. And there's got to be a way for us. Now we're doing it very simply. We're getting the cards, we're loading them into Lead Vault, and we're going to start sending them a very, very, very nice nurturing process. Like every 3 weeks, we're going to say, hey, don't forget us when you hear this. Don't forget what we do. But there's got to be something even more that we can do, because these people are making a lot of money doing this. So I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, but it's interesting, very interesting.
Anybody else? Thoughts, comments on this front?
Oh, actually, Lorraine, I just mentioned to you too. There were 2 or 3 financial people at this networking event this morning, and I said, what would they be doing? And they're looking at talking to these people financially that are on a wait list to get into the place, that have all this money, but they can't find any place to go.
Oh, I can help them with that.
Well, I
Mhm.
know that's, I mean, I thought about you this morning, and that's what we'll talk about on Monday with you. I mean,
Yeah, no, I appreciate
and
that.
and of course, you meet all kinds of people, but again, it was just something else that we noticed, and it's a totally different environment, but you know, there's got to be something we can do to link into this marketing wise.
Yeah,
You
no,
about to say
I
so?
really appreciate you suggesting that.
Were you going to say something, Jake? See, you're unmuted.
Yeah. So Sal, with kind of what you were just talking about there, looking at the demographic and kind of the people that you guys are going for, are you guys using ads in like the local smaller newspapers?
Financially, we can't do that right now, but I will tell you something, Jacob, that we ran into. They had these calendars out for the month, and they said pick an event to sponsor, and you bring $100 worth of food or something like that. One of them, my son was going to sign up. It's the veteran who are trying to get into nursing, and when we were just about ready to sign up, there's a certification for real estate people that work with veterans benefit. And you know that better than I do. And I said, oh my God, what if they ask us a question we're not qualified for, and we kind of backed away, and we're doing something else. We're doing a donut thing. But that's something that you can do, and somehow let's link it together with the REI network marketing, very powerful tool that you guys, well, all of us, in our own way and your way, make money. I mean, we didn't even realize, right, Chris? We didn't even realize there was a veterans networking event there. I mean, who the heck knew?
Yeah, there's a lot with seniors, with veteran seniors. It's quite a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting. We really haven't looked into, that.
And it doesn't cost anything but to show. I mean, we showed up today, and this assisted living had a full-blown breakfast. I mean, everything from bagels and lox to donuts to everything they made there. It was unbelievable, and it didn't cost us a penny, because they're trying to get these people to bring people into their. So they're already doing the networking. We're there, and we're talking to people, and of course you're going to meet all kinds. People don't know how to network most of the time, but you do the right thing, and and Chris and I, we tag teamed a lot of people, and last week we went to an Outback restaurant, and we did a dine and dash. These people that worked in hospitals put their order in. We showed up. There were 15 of us, and we made like a cattle run, and they had to come through us to go get their food that we paid for. And we stopped and talked to them. We handed out cards. We exchanged things. I mean, we've captured those people, Sean, and they're in this thing, but there's got to be something else we can do. I almost thought about your SEO fencing thing, Everybody that walks into the restaurant, you know, gets a card, you know?
Well, to that point, I'm going to bring it back to this whole idea of fulfillment leading
Yeah.
our marketing effort, right? It's not necessarily that there's got to be something else that we can do. It's more what are we already doing that we can enhance?
Okay.
So if I'm already getting this information, I've got this person, I've got them loaded into my system, then why not make sure that when I'm sending things out to them, I'm not sending promotional messages. Hey, look at me. I'm Chris and Sal with Ohana Legacy. Hey, look at us. This is what we do. You know, we want to help your people. Instead, it should be focused, I'd say 75% of the time, should be focused around, look at what so-and-so had happen because they worked with us. Look at how we helped, Mr. and Mrs. Brown.
Right, right. Good point.
This is where my mind really got opened up. It's like, I don't even have, if I focus on the results, right? Think of the way I kicked off this call. I led with a story of one of our clients. If I was in a room full of non-clients, people that aren't working with us, and I open up with a story like that, but never say, we can do that for you, do you think somebody at some point is going to come up after hearing that story and be like, how do I get that? How does that happen for me? So I didn't even have to say, hey, come talk to me, right? Or, hey, this is what we do, or hey, these are our services. That was the big aha, the big light bulb that really changed. Because again, at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is stand out, be different. We already know if we say the same thing that everybody else is saying the same way, the same times, we just get drowned out in the noise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that, all I got to do is sound a little bit different and I get somebody's attention. And I go back to the point of marketing is nothing more than get the attention. Get them to pay attention, get them to open up a conversation with me. That's it. If I can do that on a consistent basis, my marketing's doing really, really well. From there, it's actually my sales side.
So Sean, are you talking kind of as an example, like Marie just said, testimonials and past experience with clients, okay, or referring them to a blog that might give them some information or something.
Don't get
like
wrapped
that.
up in the technical side just yet.
Okay.
Right. I've done these. Maybe it's time that I do this training again on one of these calls, but I've talked about like what type of content, the tactical types of content are really good at the awareness stage versus at the engagement stage versus at the subscribe stage, right?
Okay.
So short answer, Sal, yes, it's about blogs, it's about videos, it's about this and that. But right now it's more, I want to get your minds opened up to the fulfillment side. You've probably, many of you guys that, unless you've never done a single deal, right? If you're that brand new, you've never done a deal, you've never talked to an individual, you've never, gone and looked at a home and made an offer on something, you have zero experience, you just started this thing yesterday. Unless you fit in that category, every single one of you guys have something, some more than others, but you have something that you can use. And it's not so much about look at me, look at me, look at me, look at us, this is how great we are. We need to start looking for those opportunities to shift it and say, look what so-and-so had happen. Look at how so-and-so had this burden relieved. And yes, a little bit to kind of what Marie's saying. I see in the comments here, you're talking about the, testimonials, past client experiences, that kind of stuff. Is it powerful to have them say it? 100%. But I don't need them to say it either. Because the story that I just told of Matt was just that. It was a third-party story of the conversation that he, myself, Mike, Roger all had, right? So I don't even need Matt to say it. I don't need Matt to come on this call and say it to get the effect out of it. Would it be more impactful If he said that on a video and we had the video of that out there, or he said that on a podcast episode, 100%, right? We never would go against that part of it. But I can get just as, I promise you, I will tell that story on Saturday when I'm in front of 1,800 real estate investors out here in LA. And I promise you that in a 90-minute presentation on Saturday, I probably will mention one time what REI Toolbox actually does from a tactical standpoint, right? What our services actually are. And that will happen in probably the last 5 minutes. But I can almost guarantee that before I even get to that point, if I could hear the minds of everybody in the room, there will be multiple people going, how do I have that? How do I get that? How is that going to, how can that be my result?
Yep.
Right? Because it's about fulfillment.
Mhm.
And I can't take credit for this. This isn't my idea. This really just kind of came to me the other day listening to that about a week ago. This podcast was
But you
on.
could make money on it.
And it really changed. Like, it really shook that mind for a second. And it's no different than stuff that we've already talked about. It's just using it in a different angle, right?
Mhm.
Too often we use the cold outreach, right? Going back to this quick hit cold outreach stuff. And I don't even want to say cold outreach. It's really top of funnel. The top of funnel marketing, which is that awareness and first kind of engagement period. When people just become aware of us, they just start to even engage with us. That's where I think we've got the biggest kind of impact. I think that's where the bigger kind of change could happen in most of our marketing.
Mhm.
That would quickly change the perspective of us versus everybody else, right? And as I look at what's going on with the real estate market, and as things shift, guys, get ready. It's going to become a feeding frenzy again. Which, if you thought there's been a lot of competition in the last year or two, get ready, because we're going back to that other side, that my early days of real estate investing, when there was competition. Why? Because the market was down. Retail buyers couldn't buy. So who's doing all the buying? Well, guess what? All these guys that just care to get on stage and sell $80,000 packages, they're going to flood rooms. They're going to tell them they can become millionaires in a weekend investing in real estate, blah, 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 blah. And you're going to have a ton of them out there again, right? But why do I not worry about that? A, I've got, we've got all kind of other stuff in place that they don't. But B, let's just focus in on being different, not sounding different, truly being different. That makes sense?
Absolutely.
So, Lorraine, I said I would come back because I slightly agreed and slightly disagreed with yours. And here's where I think the cold outreach still has an impact in your kind of area. Your top of funnel marketing right now is doing well. It's predominant around getting people on a monthly webinar, teaching some stuff on a webinar, inviting them in to have a more personalized, intimate conversation with you.
Yes.
Getting more people on the webinar. Before that step, the cold outreach is really for you. That's where it fits.
Okay.
It's not about cold outreach to the one-on-one conversation. It's not about cold outreach to doing JV deals on notes with you. Where I see you having some opportunity is cold outreach, taking what I just talked about, focusing more on this kind of like case study / experience fulfillment, showing what you've actually done with others, and inviting them to the first date of the webinar.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's
And
where the cold
'cause
outreach for you fits.
And it's warmer because it's not obligating them to do anything. Like, I don't need to know their finances or anything like that. It's just, hey, come get some information. And then at that point, it's my job to convert, or at least provide enough value so that piques their interest to get them to the next step.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because now you can take, your avatar. you know who's the ideal kind of candidate for you to
Right,
do JV deals with you, right?
right.
So you just need to go find them and reach out. But it's I'm reaching out because I wanted to share something with you. And by the way, I'm doing a webinar next week
Hmm.
on this. I'm doing a webinar on this topic. And because of this is what happened over here. Check this out.
Yeah.
And it's a
no,
lot less
that's good.
threshold, right? The threshold of severity just dropped because all you're asking them is, if you want to show up to a webinar, show up to a webinar, right?
And then the other caveat to that of what I guess I've added recently is not really, like, even if I don't get the ideal avatar, kind of still showcasing my knowledge by getting them more into a mentorship instead of a partnership. So it's like, okay, if you don't have necessarily all the funds, you can still leverage this knowledge to go and be a resource to someone else that you can partner with that has enough money or whatever. So that's what I've been more so doing recently. It's still not saying, oh, well, you don't have that, never mind, I'll put you on an email list kind of thing, just still leveraging them to some degree. So yeah, no, thank you for that suggestion. That's good.
Absolutely. So I know we're at the top of the hour. Does anybody have any questions? I'm gonna probably stick on to go over a couple things with Chris and Sal. If you guys want to stay on and they're okay with you staying on, you guys can. But I want to see if there's any questions on this. This week, I really just want you guys to focus in on just thinking. And this is the one week I'm going to give you the pass on taking action, other than thinking and showing up to the call next week with
This
maybe
was
some
good.
ideas.
This was good because it's an adjustment, Sean,
Mhm.
of what we've been doing. It's a slight adjustment, a positive adjustment, but it's the little things that we need. Yeah, that was good.
And I think next week I was gonna do it this week, but I didn't get the slides done in time. I'm still fine tuning some stuff, but I think next week I'm gonna try to jam 90 minutes into 60 minutes and give you guys the presentation that I gave on Saturday at the event, if you guys would find value in that.
Yes.
So, all right, if there's no questions, I'm gonna actually stop recording so